What is happening, my people of this Move the Chains podcast? I know I look a lot different with my beard off. I apologize. I need to shave. I looked Amish out here. I just wanted to say I'm thankful for this podcast. I'm thankful for my listeners. Hope you guys are doing well. It is Wacky Wednesday. It's hump day. I got my Curls for the Girls workout in today. I had to flex on them a little bit. I'm feeling great today. So, Raiders reaction, as I do every week. A lot to get to today. Some interesting news coming out about Tom Brady. He put more into the company. I think 15%. Mark Davis sold it. So I wanted to hop into that. Daniel Jones, the former embattled Giants quarterback, 6th pick overall. He goes to Minnesota. I think that's a really good signing by the Vikings. Kind of could sit behind and learn the offense with really good staff in Minnesota with Josh McCown, quarterback coach, and I'll get into that too. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is great having you guys in. I kind of feel a definitive of the Raiders, also with Cam Ward. I'll get into that on my Raider reaction and what I think. And then just kind of tomorrow the news. And Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets might not play tomorrow. So I wanted to hop into that. So, as I do every week, Raider reaction. We are bad right now. We're 2-9. Holy shit, who would have thought that would have happened? My dad asked, do you think it'd be this bad? I'm like, no, but our quarterback position's so shitty right now, it's hard to judge. I will say, though, that they played better against Denver. And listen, give Denver their flowers, okay? We have kicked their doors in the last couple of meetings. Ever since 2020, I believe, we've won 8 out of the 9. And I said this after the first time we played Denver. I gave Denver their flowers. They're a good football team. I think they're like a Chargers where I think they need a little bit more seasoning on the offensive side of the football, add more depth. They'll get there. Sean Payton's an excellent coach. He's one of the best play callers in the league, probably my lifetime, on a very short list. Mike Holmgren, names come to mind. But I will say, after watching that Raider game, a couple takeaways. I was texting my buddy Andrew. We were DMing throughout the game. And Gardner Minshew, he's a wild card. Listen, I'm not going to shit on him. I mean, the pick he threw was horrible. But the offensive line for the Raiders is just god-awful. And I don't know what's going on. They got to find something. They got to get 5 guys up front that can know what they're doing. This is not the 0-2 Raiders when they had mammoths on offensive line. And they had Pro Bowlers. This is not that. I like Andre James a lot, but he's an older player. Jackson Powers Johnson from Oregon, I like at center. He's getting better. Has a lot of pressure, I believe. Colton Miller's still trying to get back to his form. He's a top 10 tackle in football. I'm not going to be a bias and say he's elite, but he's a pretty damn good player when he's healthy. He's just been in and out. And the other thing, so the Raiders' O-line's been bad, and that pick Gardner threw was just awful. Now, if I'm comparing it to, okay, which one's worse, I'm going to lean toward the Denver one because they were down at the 5-yard line, driving momentum, and then it just smack, and then the game went Denver's way. And this time was the same again. Because you're up 13-9, you get the ball, start second half, it's 2nd and 14, I'm like, all right, maybe. And then he throws the awful pick. And then I went, fuck, here we go. And then what happened the rest of the game? The same shit in the first game. And, Gardner Minshew, those picks he throws, it reminds me of a song. I'm trying to connect. It's this song called Doing Too Much with a 2 in it by Moneybagg Yo, and I think Yo Gotti. Anybody wants to listen to it, go check it out. You know what I'm saying. And there's a lyric in it where he says, the girl screenshot you FaceTime, you be doing too much. I can't do the sound effect. It's bad. But my point is, that's what Gardner Minshew's doing. I'm like, what are you doing? You're doing too much. Like, what are you doing? You take the check down. Okay, we're up 13-9. We're fine. So I just think the Raiders are in a hellhole with the quarterback position, and I think that's their problem. And I think, is Pierce, I just talked to Matt Hype, my buddy, right before I got on here, one of my best friends, and he was asking me, does Pierce get fired? What do I think? Okay. It's a tough thing because, look, I would not fire him because I want continuity, and I do believe him with Tom Brady. Now, again, I don't know how much say Tom Brady's got. I know Mark sold the team to a bunch of investors. Maybe that will help. I don't know. I'm pulling. It does. But I do worry, though, from this standpoint. What is it going to look like? And I'm curious about the draft because I got to see what's going on. And after watching Saturday, and I did my reaction to Cam Ward, and my buddy Matt and I just talked, I think Cam Ward's the Raiders quarterback. Because, listen, unless Shador does something wild and dominates, I'm just out. And it's not because of the talent. And I said this a lot of times. I judge it mainly on character. And GMs do, and scouts do, and they hear, and go watch the movie Draft Day. There's some correlations to this. Now I know it's a movie and whatever, but it's real life too. And I get these human beings, I get it. But go watch Draft Day. Like, Bill Callahan had some question marks coming out of college at Wisconsin in the movie, and I'm starting to see that with this kid, with Shador, because there is a lot of gifts and there is a lot of talent. I'm not disputing that. Now hangs on the ball too long. There's some knocks on him. It's shit he can fix. Okay. But my point is with Cam Ward, I get the 7-on-7 feel and too much backyard football. I get all that. And Mahomes had some of this too. Now, I'm not comparing Mahomes to Cam Ward. I'm not doing any of that. What I'm saying is this kid's got it to me. And, I heard Mario Cristobal talk on the Move the Sticks podcast, not my own, but another one that I listened to get more information, is that Mario Cristobal says the same thing. Like, he's all about ball. And I'm all for that. And he's competitive. He's a gamer. I heard Louis Riddick on the Georgia Tech thing when they were losing, and, they were kind of kicking the ball around, and then, didn't go their way that day. It was like he plays like the score doesn't matter, and I love that about him. And I think he's got a whip of an arm. I think, the only thing I got problems with him is the hero ball. Now, we'll see how the season progresses. I got to see more games with him, and I'll give a more deep dive. I don't have to film, but I watch enough games, I go, okay. So I think the Raiders take Cam Ward, and then we move on to what the Raiders should do with the rest of their draft. I saw a mock today. They should go with the Dylan Sampson kid from Tennessee, which I would love. They need a running back like that. And maybe they get back to that power. The scheme, I'd have to look up what it is. But they got to get back to that because this run game is not working. Whatever the scheme they're doing is not working. And I hope Mark selling the team means that there's some momentum and we can get this thing back on the tracks because a couple of years ago, they went to the playoffs with all that crazy shit going on, which is so Raiders because it's just typical us. I do think, though, at some point, they got to get this train on the tracks. And I've been a fan for 14 years now. And I'm still a loyal fan. I'm not quitting. I'm pulling tomorrow or Friday. Hopefully I get off work a little early, God help us, that we surprise the Chiefs again. And we ruined the Thanksgiving. Now, I don't know. I highly doubt it. I think last year was just perfect storm. They went in there, they kicked the Chiefs' ass, and then the Chiefs went on the run. I got it. And that was our Super Bowl last year. I'm not disputing that. I'd love to beat the Chiefs again. I respect the hell of Mahomes and that crew. But I highly doubt it, son. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know. And I'll give my reactions to that, too. So, to recap that, I do believe that the Raiders... It's going to be a long week, short week, because you got to go play Friday in Kansas City. I've been there. And we will find out Black Friday how that game goes. So, some notes I wanted to talk about today. I saw a thing today that Daniel Jones signed with the Vikings. And my takeaway was, good for Minnesota. Like, good for Daniel Jones. I know he wanted to go to a contender, Baltimore, to back up Lamar, or, that kind of thing, to get him in a new environment. And... if he went to Minnesota or he went to a Baltimore, he went to a Buffalo, that wouldn't be a bad option. He's better than what Mr. Trubisky is, so maybe there's some things there. But I'm glad for Daniel Jones. And it's okay that he flamed out. It's okay. Like, I'm not going to sit here, I trash him, but whatever. The Giants just misevaluated him. This happens all the time. David Gettleman, or as I call him, Gettle dumbass, because he didn't know what he was doing. Now, he did take Saquon, but... What's the good news now? You shipped him over to the rivals. And getting rid of Saquon, it's like going to put a Babe Ruth curse on the Red Sox. When Babe Ruth was with the Red Sox, he went to Yankees. So the Giants, listen, I'm happy for Daniel Jones because he gets out of that rut in New York. And I just felt bad because they never got they went to the playoffs 2 years ago, but they just never put all the pieces together. The O-line was kind of in and out. And Daniel Jones just wasn't capable enough to overcome that and overcome dysfunction. There's a few guys in this league that can. And situation matters when it comes to quarterbacks and that sort of thing, and I get it. But I'm happy for Daniel Jones because you finally got a guy and Kevin O'Connell. He quarterbacked in this league. I think he was San Diego State and played with New England. I think that Wildcat game, he came in for a couple series. That was the New England year when Tom Brady was out. And he's been in the league. He's been there, done that. He's an impressive guy, excellent coach. I think Minnesota's well staffed. I mean, and for years and years, I've said they're the Chargers just with shittier weather. They just can't hit that ceiling. But I do believe, though, this staff of coaching is elite. It's in that Kansas City, in Baltimore, like that kind of thing where the hierarchy's there. You obviously got Ziggy Wolf, the owner, and then you got Yoshi, I believe, the African-American guy, the GM, and then O'Connell, and it kind of is a hierarchy. So there's a few organizations in this league that I trust to get it right. And, they got an offensive coach, Kevin O'Connell, who calls the plays and is a coach. And, you just see guys around the league, like he builds quarterbacks up. Richardson did it. Richardson got benched, and then they had that moment. So I'm really sold on the Vikings. Like, I don't know where they go in the playoffs with Sammy Darnold. I'm pulling for you, Sammy. I'm a Packer fan, but I'm pulling for you. I'm rooting for you. But we'll see what happens. And I'm happy for Daniel Jones. He got an opportunity. It's a really good Vikings football team. Better offensive line they had in the Giants. And the Giants are just a mess. I mean, for years and years I heard, well, we're not as functional as the Jets. Really? All right. I'm looking at you. Mirror images, bro. Ever since you fired Tom Coughlin, which I get at the time, I got it. Got you 2 rings. Goodbye. Okay. But ever since then, you become the Jets. A lot of changing, a lot of shift, and all this crap. And listen, Tommy DeVito, nice story. Sopranos, Mamma Mia Pizzeria. Ay, ay, ay. What are we doing here, kid? Ay, ay, ay. I get it. Good story. And he had some nice moments last year. But to not play Drew Lock when you gave him $5 million as a backup, which, by the way, Drew Lock last year on Monday Night Football game, when he was in Seattle, orchestrated a game-winning drive against Philly. Hit Jackson Smith and Jigba down the right sideline on one of the best throws of the year last year. And you don't even play him? What are we doing? Like, the Giants, listen, they're just a mess. And they're like, I think they're in their own little world. Like, they gave a quarterback $40 million, and they don't want to pay him $12 million for running back? Saquon Barkley, that's all you had to do. And you didn't pay him. He embodies everything you want in a football player. High character guy. Never gets in trouble. No bullshit. Great work ethic. I mean, you saw it at Penn State, and you see with the Giants. And they let him go. And it's just a shame because I said this last week. There's a couple job openings going to be opened up. Giants, the Jaguars, and the Bears. Would you take any of those? I mean, I would not take the Bears job. Like, that's the last job on the list I would take. Even though you got Caleb and it's sexy. I mentioned this last night. There's no way that's happening. But the Giants, in my opinion, should keep Daboll. He's a good coach. Okay, he got to the playoffs 2 years ago. Daniel Jones, if that says anything. And yes, he has been, he looks better. He took Ozempic. I'm not trying to make fun of people's weight, but he did. So I just think the Giants are in a weird spot. Good for Daniel Jones. I'm happy for him. He can back up Sam Darnold. He can, see what happens. Now, Minnesota's got some little weirdness going on because you drafted J.J. McCarthy, but he's a project. So a lot of moving parts in Minnesota. But I am happy for Daniel Jones. So that's all I wanted to say on here tonight. I'm thankful for you guys. Thankful for the content I create. And I love all the people, all the feedback I'm going to get. Mason Keebler, shout out to you. I love you, bro. I appreciate it. I'm going to keep putting out content, making you guys happy. Just sprinkling football knowledge to you guys as much as I know. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Like I always say on my videos, hit the like, subscribe, share button. And talk to you guys soon. Have a happy Thanksgiving. And back at you soon.